pressure. She sacked him. A great bull rush by Chris Jones.
He's not banking on the skill that he's been blessed with.
It's a Kelce. Great catch. Touchdown. Kansas City to 10. Still not down. Oh, what a run. Out of this world. Sinks it up the middle. Intercepted. Intercepted by Matthew. The Honey Badger doesn't care.
Sometimes anticipation and discussion of a game doesn't live up to the game. This was even more than the discussion and the hype. Mitch Holthus with you along with Matt McMullen. Chiefs beat the Raiders 35-31 on an incredible drive at the end of the game. Kelce with the catch of 22 yards from Patrick Mahomes. We're going to break all this down in a second, but let's go right to the podium and hear from head coach Andy Reid.
Well, look, I mean, heck of a football game. Really, with the exception of Pringle, who hurt his left ankle. So besides that, I really don't have anything for you. And he came back in, so for a period of time.
It's a young team, and you just remind them, hey, listen, 60 minutes for the world champs. They're a really good football team. The only loss they had coming in tonight was us.
Okay, are we good? I'm proud of our football team and the job that they did, reaching down when needed, and against a good football team. Listen, John and Mike have done a great job of putting this crew together here with the change of coming to Vegas. They got this beautiful facility, and I think it's just good. It's good for the National Football League. It's the rivalry between the Raiders and the Chiefs, I think, is a great thing for football, and it's great to be a part of it. And I know that team's well coached, and I know they've got good players. And so I look forward to more future challenges like the one that they presented here the last couple times we played them. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. I'm going to ask you about the defense. Is there a common denominator tonight in kind of the problems that unit had? You only got 2 stops on that side of the ball.
Yeah, so, I mean, listen, they're talented, and, you got to be able to get pressure on the quarterback, all those things, and tighten things up on the back end, but they're talented. I mean, they've got a good offense, and so you're going to give up some yards, and the important thing is that you hang with it in games like this, and you bear down the best you can as time goes on. So, I mean, that's what we did, and it was a pretty equally matched game, back and forth. On the defense, they bared down when needed most, and that was important.
Let's go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, sticking with the defensive theme, it seemed like Juan Thornhill, it seemed like he was maybe rotated in. Was he hurt early in the game, or was that part of the plan?
No, that was part of the plan, Herbie. He's a situational guy right now, and we're just kind of bringing him back slowly. So that's what we're doing.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, can you take us through the last touchdown drive? What you guys, obviously you're trying to score a touchdown, but getting that completion on first down, was that kind of the key to getting the ball rolling there?
Yeah, you always want to try to do that. If you're going to throw the ball, you want to try to get yards on your first play and make it a positive play, and we were able to do that. We had a little bit of field there that we had to drive to get ourselves in position. And then, listen, the guys had to reach down and got it up a little bit. The receivers, tight end, so on. That's they put a lot of mileage in before they got to that spot and in the game, and they were able to reach deep and even take it a little bit deeper. We knew points were important. A field goal ties it up, so any form we knew where it was important. So, but you want to score a touchdown if you can, and so we were able to do that. I thought the coaches did a nice job, EB and Mike Kafka and Joe Blameyer of orchestrating that and working plays. We all have our different things that we're in charge of, and those guys bared down and really brought up some good things there.
Next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, wanted to ask you about the drive as well to end the game. So much of a fourth quarter drive comes down to the quarterback knowing every scenario, every variable. Just where do you think Patrick has improved when knowing that he only has 143 and a timeout to work with and are able to still get a touchdown?
Well, listen, I'd take him over everybody, and I'm lucky to have him. So as we are as a football team, as we are as a city, and I know we're all proud of him and the way he goes about his business. So, and when you're behind, he can make things happen. And he's got great vision. He's got guys that believe in him, around him, and work like crazy to get themselves open. And again, this is against a good football team. So our guys, like I said, I mean, I'm proud of the way they handled this. This thing could have easily gone the other way, and it didn't. And it's because they bear down.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, on the Raiders' last drive before Jason Witten's penalty, I'm curious what your philosophy is on letting teams score and looking at the time and that sort of thing. Was there any thought to letting them score or playing that out?
I've got Pat Mahomes, so I know you give me a minute and a half and I'm pretty good right there, So we can roll. But I mean, there's a time and a place for that. That wasn't the situation for it, but I thought we had plenty of time. Now if we didn't have enough time, I'd be sitting here probably telling you something different, but I thought we had enough time there to get rolling.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Sam and then Pete. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. Wanted to ask you a couple quick things. Travis's touchdown the final play of the game. Is that the way you expected that play to open up? Was that the number one option on that play?
Okay, so I think this is what you said. You were cutting out just a little bit. So was Travis the number one option on the play? Yeah. Tyreek was the number one option, and then back to Trav. So it's kind of depending on what they did and how they pushed. Then it came back to Trav.
That's good.
Let's go last to Pete Sweeney. Good, Pete.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win and the game plan. And just want to go back to your timeout with 1:53 left. How comfortable do you feel, even in that situation, which is dire, given the fact that you're going to be going to Patrick Mahomes and the offense that you've built when you have 1 and change to go?
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with that. The timeout I used was not because of a time issue on the clock or anything. We were tired. And so sometimes you use those things that you bank these so that you can use them when needed. If the guys are gassed a little bit. I mean, we still had plays in our hurry up that we could use, but let's give our guys a blow, and then we roll from there. Okay,
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Loved the answer from Andy Reid, because there was discussion even in our radio crew during the timeout. Do you let him score here? He goes, no, I got Pat Mahomes in a minute 30. I'm good.
Well, this is why Patrick Mahomes is the MVP of the league, in my opinion, because we can talk about the stats, the numbers, they're all incredible and ridiculous. But when you have a $130 left and all the chips are down on the table, you need your quarterback to lead you down the field and get a big win against a division rival in a game that the Raiders wanted to win so badly. And what do? You go down the field and in less than a minute, you score a touchdown and win the game. That's why he's the MVP of the NFL.
Raiders had a great game plan. They did nearly everything right. But I was just sitting here as we were listening to Andy. Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Terry Bradshaw, John Stallworth, Ben Roethlisberger, either Hines Ward or Antonio Brown. The reason I say all those guys, right now, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is the most exciting, impactful, historic duo in this league. We can overlook Kelce, but he's doing historical things right now. And for those two to team up to win the game was somewhat poetry.
So we talked about in Field Pass about how great of a season Travis is having, and he's more than just the best tight end in football. He's also one of the best pass catchers overall, not just in the league today, but of the last decade. I mean, if you look at what he's doing, it's incredible stuff. And look at what he did in this game. 8 catches for 127 yards, of course, the game-winning touchdown. And he was forcing penalties, too, because these DBs can't keep up with him. They have to hold him. They have to commit pass interference in order to avoid a big play. And he still gets his numbers, incredible stuff from him. And then there's Patrick Mahomes in his last 3 games, he's thrown for 1,136 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Just silly numbers, and of course, 3 victories.
You are seeing every play of that final drive in front of you right now. A 7-play, 75-yard drive, and then this one. Wide open, Kelce in the middle. Mahomes looking to his right, drew the safety away from Kelce and away from the play. So watch here, watch Mahomes' eyes, and then it comes back at the last second, and the Raiders blow the coverage, and a 7-play, 75-yard drive to win it. But this game was about poise, too. The other thing with this victory, there's always, Matt, you and I will go back and analyze it throughout the week, and people can follow us in doing so. There's always about 1,000 things that you forget about that leads to a victory. And this game was no exception.
So let's rewind it back to late in the second quarter. The Raiders are on the 1-yard line, and you think it's probably going to be a touchdown. I mean, a 1-yard distance from the end zone for Derek Carr and company, who are moving the ball down the field with ease. You think it's going to be a touchdown there. Well, they throw a fade. Charvarius Ward punches the ball out. They get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after that. Kick a field goal. That's 4 points off the board right there. So that's why you defend every blade of grass and every yard, because you never know what's going to happen later on. Who knows how that second half plays out if they score a touchdown there? I mean, they go up 21-14 if they do that. If they don't, they go up 17-14, and then there's no scoring for quite a while. The Chiefs then score in the second half. Huge play there by Charvarius Ward to make sure that it wasn't an easy touchdown, and it made a big difference in the end by the margin if you look at what happened.
Let me add to that a second, too. It's the pressure the Chiefs put on the opponent. Here's a couple of other instances. A challenge by John Gruden. He burns up a timeout early in the third quarter that he could have used later on a challenge that's probably, but when you're playing the Chiefs, every little microscopic thing you want to pick up. And then there was some confusion later that burned up a second timeout on their sideline. He might have been deked by the officials on that. But the point is here, the Raiders had a near-perfect game plan. They did a great job. They built this team to beat the Chiefs. And yet that constant pressure will sometimes lead to weird decisions. It's the second onside kick that Carolina tried 2 weeks ago. That led to really maybe their defeat. And so it's just this constant pressure in all 3 phases the Chiefs put on the opponent's sideline.
And what's so impressive about this team to me is you're right. I was thinking about Carolina when you were mentioning that, because this is 2 games in a row now where the opponent has played pretty much a perfect ball game. They come in, they're taking chances. They know what they have to do. Look what the Raiders did tonight. I mean, they were 6 of 9 on third down, didn't turn the ball over until the very end, played a really good game plan, and Carolina did the same thing. They played really good football. And the Chiefs coming off a Super Bowl championship, a lot of people wonder when a team wins a championship, did they get kind of lackadaisical in the next season? I mean, are these kind of games in the middle of the season, did they lose these games because they don't mean as much to them? We're seeing that's not the case with these Chiefs. They're finding ways to win these games against opponents who want nothing more than to beat them and play perfect games. And there's little mistakes here and there. The Chiefs take advantage and find ways to win.
We mentioned the most dynamic duo right now in the National Football League. Let's go to the podium for one of the 2.
Yes. Come on, man. Well, you're always in it, and that's the biggest thing, is that you can go out there and create energy, with a purpose, knowing that Coach Reid and the offensive staff are gonna put you in a good position, and sure enough, 1-5 is always ready for the moment. So you just got to make sure that you're staying true to the scheme and staying disciplined within the scheme, not trying to do too much. Like I did the last time playing the Raiders, and it hurt us. And this time, just kind of staying on track with who we are, knowing that who we are is good enough, and it showed out there today.
Let's go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Travis. Can you tell us what you said to Andy after the touchdown? I think you went over and rubbed his shoulders and maybe suggested he put you in the right place.
Well, everybody kind of gets a little tense in those moments, right? So just gotta loosen the guy up a little bit. We're always talking about fire up, man, get ready, and it seemed right then and there that we had it in the bag. So it's just having fun with the big guy, knowing that we all, it was a team win. We all accounted for this one.
Let's go next to Steve Walls. Good, Steve.
Hey, Trev. This Raiders team isn't the same team that we've seen over the past few years. Talk about what makes this team, so difficult to play, besides the fact they are your rival.
To be honest, man, this is the best Raiders team that I've played since I've been in the league. Very well coached. They got a whole lot of great players over there, and they play well together. Meaning offensive, defensive, and special teams. They're all coming together, and they're all playing their tail off. And we knew it was going to be a fight coming into it. And I'm just proud of the guys in the locker room that were in white today. And we came away with a very, very hard-fought win out here in Las Vegas.
Looks like we've got 4 left. We'll go right down the line, starting with Harold. Go ahead, Harold.
Travis, congratulations on the win. You discussed Mahomes at the end there, but just throughout the game, how frustrating was it seeing how back and forth it was going? And did you feel any pressure? Just, okay, we have to score on this. I know you want to score on every drive, but you felt like you had to score on each drive because you knew the Raiders were having success offensively too.
We know what we're capable of, and we have the ultimate firepower on offense, and scoring every drive is a mission. It's the expectations that we set for ourselves. So you can't get frustrated. I mean, that's a good football team. So you gotta be able to battle through the ups and downs of a football game, knowing that it's 60 minutes and it might take you all the way down to the last minute to find a win, and that's what happened today.
Next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Travis, I know you mentioned before how playing quarterback allows you to see the coverage yourself. Can you take us through what the coverage the Raiders were showing you on that last drive and why you were able to get open for those 2 big receptions, including the touchdown?
I'm not going to lie. I kind of got tricked on it because I thought it was a middle field open look. And when I got through second level, which is the linebackers, once I got through the second level, I felt an opening on the opposite hash. And, I mean, might as well go where the void is. I feel like I see and I feel what Patrick sees back there in the pocket sometimes. And sure enough, I mean, it was right on the money.
Go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Travis, can you take us through that final drive? I think you only got to third down 1 time and only second down only twice. Did that thing go, other than maybe the play you just talked about, did that thing go about the way you planned it?
I mean, I feel like they had been playing pretty similar defense the entire game. And, I mean, over the course of 3 or 4 quarters, I feel like we pretty much had a good grasp on how to attack it. But at the end of the day, you got 1-5 back there making plays. So it's he kind of turns it up and when it really matters the most. And he was out there showing out tonight.
Go last to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Travis, you were now 1 of 2 in your career passing. What can you tell us about that play and the throw to Pringle? What's that play called, and how long you guys been working on that?
It went in, I think, on Thursday or Friday. It's called Slot Machine Right. And I was hoping that we would have hit all 7s on that son of a buck, man. God, but Pring was out there just trying to make a play, and sure enough, we got some positive yards, which is the best.
Travis, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys.
How long you guys been working on that?
Travis Kelce, yep, he had a shovel pass in the game. That was crazy. That was an Andy Reid bye week. Think of stuff. But what's also overlooked here is the play of the offensive line. Go right down the line. Remmers at right tackle. Wiley at right guard. Austin Ryder at center. Allegretti, who's growing every week at left guard. And then Fisher had to battle through an ankle injury at left tackle. Those guys are the unsung heroes of this game.
You think about one big difference between the Week 5 loss and this game: 0 sacks for the Raiders defense against Patrick Mahomes. There was some pressure at times, but they never actually got him down to the ground. That's absolutely huge if you're trying to move the ball down the field. And a lot of these defenses, and the Raiders included, are trying to play a defense where they're playing guys deep. They're not going to let you beat them over the top. And the result is long drives. And we saw several of those for the Chiefs here tonight. Their opening drive, they go 14 plays, 85 yards, chew up over 7 minutes of clock. Opening drive of the second half, 16 plays, 93 yards, over 8 minutes, and then a 12-play drive later on to retake the lead, the Le'Veon Bell touchdown. These long drives can't work if you don't have protection, and we saw that all night long.
The drive to start the second half, and here we go, a 16-play, 93-yard drive. The Chiefs had terrible field position the whole night. Special teams penalties were a little bit of an issue this evening. But this drive was a great blend of the offense. And the other thing that was another difference between this victory over the Raiders and the loss in October was there was enough of the run game. Now, these are all pass plays. Le'Veon Bell was showing up, but the Chiefs were able to get a blend, and the offensive line, you're seeing these guys work here against a very resourceful defensive line of the Raiders. But the Chiefs able to Stay patient, too. We talked about playing underneath, hitting spots. They did exactly that on this drive.
We have to talk about that throw from Mahomes to Kelce, where he's running to his left and throws across his body and hits Kelce. We're so used to that play, it seems normal and it's no big deal. If any other player did that, it would be on SportsCenter instantly. But just how lucky are we to have those guys? But yeah, absolutely right. What's so interesting about these long drives is Kansas City had one 14-play drive all season long that ended in a touchdown. It was way back in week 1 against the Texans. And now they have 2 of them here in this game. Pretty incredible stuff. But you mentioned Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What I love about him, he never goes down at first contact. Have you noticed that?
No.
Never. I mean, he gets hit and you think, okay, maybe that's a 1 or 2 yard gain. And then all of a sudden he breaks free for 4 more yards. He's incredible.
And Bell, the next drive showed up there too. So 2 90-plus yard drives for touchdowns. The Chiefs get the victory over the Raiders 35-31. We are going back to the podium, I believe, as the Chiefs get the victory. It's going to be a long ride home, but let's go back to the podium as the Chiefs get the victory and take a commanding lead in the AFC West.
Yeah, I mean, the guys executed well. We were able to make plays happen. The only time that we didn't make a play is when I didn't pick up a protection when they brought a little fire zone pressure. And so that's a good football team, and I think guys just stepped up whenever their number was called and made plays.
And also, I mean, obviously you're thinking touchdown there the whole time, but does that take a little pressure off you when you get into field goal range? When you're down 3, knowing that you have at least that in your back pocket, you don't have to force anything at that point?
I think there's steps. I mean, the first step is trying to get in the field goal range. I mean, knowing it's 3-point game, you want to make sure that you're executing the offense, moving the ball down the field, and giving Harrison a chance to tie the game. And then once we got in the field goal range and we still had time left, I knew that I was going to hope that we had a couple shots at the end zone, and we were able to find Kelce on that last one, and he made a big play.
Go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick, I'm just wondering, when you see that the Raiders score the go-ahead touchdown, what's kind of the first thing that enters your mind? I mean, I know what the objective is there, but what are you thinking at that point?
That we're going to score. I just didn't know if it was going to be overtime or we were going to win it.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, congratulations on the win. Beginning of last year, we had kind of joked about like McMullen and not running and you being out of structure. And it sort of seems like since that moment, the entire team has adapted to you and the different things that you can do that are out of structure. Just how has that happened over the course of time? And how does it help you guys in moments like this, especially when Kelce's adjusting to sort of where he thinks you're going with the football?
Yeah, I mean, it's big time. I mean, to be able to execute the first play, and then they talk about being able to execute the second play as well. I mean, guys, when I scramble, they get to their landmarks, they get in my vision, and I try to give them chances to make plays. And it's a huge part of our offense, and it's something that we work on in the offseason. And I think we've built chemistry with bringing the same guys back year in and year out, and Beach does a good job of that, and so that we know where each other is on that football field.
Go next to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Patrick, Travis tells us his play was called slot machine right, and as a guy who's mastered the underhand throw, how would you evaluate Kelce's execution of that play?
I thought he did a good job. I mean, he was able to sell it, get the underhand throw and that inside shoulder and give Pringle a chance. We actually had a design to be a little tighter, and so I think if we'd have been able to get it a little tighter, we'd have got that touchdown. But it was sweet. I was even open a little bit in the flats if he wanted to sling it out there as well.
Go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Patrick, I'm sorry if you answered this. I had something else in my ear, but I wonder if you could just try to describe your relationship with with Travis, the way that you guys seem to just have an intuitive knowledge of each other in these key moments. I know you've described it many times, but it seems like there's something really special there.
Yeah, I think he has a great understanding of not only zone and man coverages and how to get himself open, but how to be on the quarterback's timing. And I think that comes from him playing the quarterback position and him having the years and the experience. And I think you're starting to see that with guys like Tyreek as well. And so if we can just keep evolving and keep getting better and better year in and year out and game by game, we'll be a hard offense to stop.
Go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, Clyde told us he felt a little more tension in the stadium this week. Be honest. I mean, you had to get this one. You wanted to beat your rival. Was there a little extra juice this week?
Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt we wanted to win, and I think the guys came to play. And, I mean, like I said, that's a great football team. Teams beat a lot of good football teams, including ourselves. And we needed everything we had to win this football game. And we have a great football team coming up this next week, so we're excited for the challenge this next week and moving on to that one.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Darren and then Nate. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Patrick, a couple of things. Was there some miscommunication between you and DeMarcus towards the end of the half where you had your interception? Because I know you all didn't cover the spread tonight for someone who worries about that. And then also, you know, more seriousness, you all had 10 penalties tonight for 89 yards, a couple of personal fouls. How do you all clean that up before your next big game next Sunday against Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the one with D-Rob, it was kind of a miscommunication on mine and his part. We allow a lot of freedom in this offense, and so I was thinking he was going to come back to me, but he felt the pressure of the guy on the outside, and so he brought it back inside. And so we just have to be on the same page, and we can make that completion happen, and we've done it several times before. So that's something that you work on in practice, and obviously didn't want to throw that interception at that point when we already had points on the board. And then what's your second question again?
My question was about the penalties. You all had 10 penalties tonight. A couple of them were personal fouls. How do you make sure that you all clean that up so it doesn't cost you, you know, next week's game against the Tampa Bay Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line. I mean, you want guys to play with emotion. You want guys to play hard through the whistle. But at the same time, you can't be getting those penalties in crucial situations. And so I think Coach Reid does a good job of letting guys' personality show, and I think we hold each other accountable. And when guys get unsportsmanlike penalties and whatever that is, they hold themselves accountable, and they know they don't want to hurt the team. And so it's something that I'm gonna let guys be who they are, and they'll hold each other accountable, and we'll hold each other accountable.
Last to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Patrick, I have two questions as well. My first is, on a last-minute drive like this, do you internally speed up your mind, speed up your clock, or do you try to keep it the same or actually slow it down because you know the action can be so frantic? And then Brad, I'll have a second.
Yeah, I think you just be who you are. I think that's the biggest thing. You just go about the process of moving the ball down the field. You have to know when you can go over the middle and take completions. You have to know when you need to try to get to the sideline. And you have to know when to take your shots and when to take the checkdowns. And so we've been put in these situations before. Coach Reid puts us in these situations at practice so that we're ready to go whenever we're presented them. And so it's a thing where I have the ultimate confidence in this offense that if we have time on that clock, we're going to find a way to score some points.
And lastly, we know it feels good, honestly, when you throw the touchdown to Travis, but can you just take us through what the feeling is when the ball leaves your hand and you know he's that wide open?
Yeah, I mean, it was a play where I was looking at Tyreek, and I was actually, even when I scrambled out to the right, I was going to look back over at Tyreek again, thinking that he might have won against his matchup. And I saw the safety was running at me, like I was going to run the ball, and I saw Travis wide open in the end zone. So I just tried to put it on him as quick as possible because I knew that was the game winner.
Patrick, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This week's Thanksgiving week. Thank you for Patrick Mahomes. Okay, he's our guy. It's just pinch me. I've done this 27 years. He's our guy. Let's talk about three things. I've said early in the year the Chiefs are playing in three divisions this year. The first is the obvious, the AFC West. What does it mean to get a 3-game lead now with 6 games to go to try to get a 5th consecutive division title, something that's only happened 2 times in the history of the AFC West?
This was one of those tipping point games where if the Chiefs lose this game, all of a sudden it's game on for the AFC race, looking down at the final 6 games of the year. If they win it, which they did, as you said, they have a 3-game lead with 6 games to go, trying to get a 5th straight AFC West title. I'll say that again. 5th straight AFC West title is what we're going for here. Before Andy Reid came to town, we had never put 2 back-to-back AFC West titles together, and now we're trying to get a 5th straight, and winning here tonight was a big step toward that.
That's always the first box to check. Now let's go to the second division the Chiefs are in. That's the race for the bye division. Looks like a 2-team race now between the Steelers and the Chiefs. So there's work to do. The Steelers get the victory, but now all of a sudden the schedule starts to flip. What's interesting here, Matt, I'm curious your thoughts. The Chiefs, the bulk of their work has been done against the AFC. 6 games left, but 3 against NFC teams. And we look at what the Steelers have ahead of them. They've got a lot of work to do here. Now, you've got to take care of your business. But if you have a tie with the team and they have 2 AFC losses and you only have 1, that's good for the Chiefs.
Exactly. So when it comes down to it, if you're tied with the team record-wise, if you haven't played them, it goes to your conference record. So if you're losing to NFC teams, it's not as big of a deal. This is a fun time of year where we can start looking at what other teams are doing, and I really enjoy this. This is fun. And looking at what the Chiefs' schedule is the rest of the way, we play the Buccaneers next week. We'll talk about that. NFC, New Orleans, that's a tough game. NFC. Of course, there are some tough games in the AFC for the Chiefs coming up, like the Miami Dolphins, but still, that New Orleans game, that Tampa Bay game are two big games, and they're both NFC opponents. Every game matters, but still, it's important they're NFC opponents. Looking at who Pittsburgh plays, they play the Baltimore Ravens on Thanksgiving. Baltimore is playing for their season, so they're going to come out on fire in that one, I suspect. They play the Bills in Week 14, the Colts in Week 16. Colts had a huge win today over the Green Bay Packers. And then the Browns, who are having a pretty good year, kind of quietly, having a good season in Week 17. So the Steelers have a tough stretch down the last 6 games here against AFC opponents. Definitely something to watch.
Yeah, and the Browns are ahead now of the Ravens. Who would think that after Week 11? The final one is the third division, and that is the COVID division. We're all in this battle, but we see it every day, and it affects the Raiders tonight. They were missing guys, key guys tonight because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And all of us, we're going into the holidays here. Andy Reid talks about telling the guys, discipline, and unselfishness. This may be a year. We may have to have Zoom family dinners here, but wash your hands, watch your distance, and wear a mask are very serious things, particularly as we go into the holidays.
And this is where leadership and accountability play such a huge role here. In, every team in the National Football League, you can't say, I know for a fact that they're going to be accountable to one another. Maybe if their seasons aren't going so well or they don't have great leadership at the top. The Chiefs have the best leadership in the NFL, in my opinion. Everyone is accountable to one another because they know what they can achieve. If everyone can make it to the end of this thing, we know what they can achieve. It's a Super Bowl title. It's another championship for this squad. And it's a matter of staying accountable to one another. I have confidence they'll do that.
Great job. It's called a trade out. I did field pass for you.
Yep.
You're doing rewind for me. Well done, my friend. Matt Stat, you can follow him all week long. Big week. Watch tomorrow night. Scout the Buccaneers, and then get ready. Chiefs will get back in the wee hours of the morning as they get ready to try to keep rolling here playing the Buccaneers next Sunday in Tampa. For Matt McMullen, I'm Mitch Holthus. Thanks to our entire crew, including Anna Topkin, producing and leading the way. The Chiefs get the victory in a memorable win over the Raiders, 35-31. A 75-yard drive, a touchdown pass from Mahomes to Kelce with just 28 seconds left. Enjoy your week, Chiefs Kingdom. Happy Thanksgiving, and let's run it back.
Chiefs Rewind is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Kansas City Chiefs, and by Community America Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.